Hey, what's going on, YouTube? It's been a while. Yeah, just been busy with life and stuff in general, but been wanting to make some kind of content, so figured a decent way to get back into it would be to just do a kind of collection update kind of thing, talking about some stuff I've picked up in the last few months. Before I start, I decided to play some music in the background, did the old Discogs collection randomizer thing, so got Ancients, Voice of the Void, Vancouver band actually, kind of from my neck of the woods a little bit. 2016, I think this is their last album as far as I know. I'm not sure if these guys are still around even. Cool stuff though. Sort of like a mix of Mastodon and Opeth maybe. Yeah, check it out. If you can even hear it in the background, I'm not sure, but it seemed okay when I tested it out earlier. Alright, this is take 2 of this video. I was taking way too long, so yeah, I'll just try to get through these pretty quickly because I have a pretty big stack. So without further ado, Asphyx, The Rack. Death metal classic from the Netherlands. Martin van Drunen on vocals. This is their debut. I want to say 91, maybe. This is a 2011 reissue. Century Media and Icarus. It's got like a 91 live concert as bonus material. That's pretty cool. Yeah, just crushing death doom with an intense as hell guitar tone and Martin van Drunen's scathing vocals. So yeah, awesome stuff. Glad to have this. Okay, back to the 70s. UK prog rock, Automatic Fine Tuning. Self-titled album. I guess it's called AFT. Technically, super cool stuff. On the heavier side of the prog rock spectrum. Lots of mostly instrumental. There's like two tracks on here which are over 15 minutes each and are both totally instrumental, but they hold your attention. Awesome like dual guitar leads and stuff on here as well. The last song does have vocals. It's like a 3.5 minute short thing. Great song as well. But yeah, these guys dropped the one album in 1976, I think, and then disappeared. So really cool one and done band. Check it out if you're into 70s prog or hard rock. This is a little embarrassing to admit, but I never owned this till a couple months ago, which is crazy because I've been listening to Black Sabbath since probably 2007 or something. One of my favorite bands. Picked this up at my local record store, aka gas station. Yeah, it was like $10. Not a lot to this. This is just the basic kind of reissue digipacks that they've been doing. Warner Brothers, Rhino. It does have a pretty cool booklet. If I can get it out of here, with a bunch of cool photos from the time and just talking about the recording of the album and what was going on with the band at that point in time. Pretty cool. Yeah, so glad to finally have that in my collection. And another one that I don't know why I didn't have any bolt thrower until a couple weeks ago. Finally ordered a few of these. I got War Master, Fourth Crusade, and For Victory. I mean, what do you say about these albums? Just death metal masterpieces, basically. And unique, too. I mean, nobody sounded like this. This isn't just cookie cutter 90s death metal. I mean, these guys just really have their own sound. They kind of have a formula that they use, but it's such a great formula. And they did evolve a little bit from album to album back in the 90s in their heyday. Just awesome stuff. I will say these Earache reissues, like, that's it. There's no booklet, no lyrics, nothing. You get a piece of cardboard and a disc, basically. But yeah, they'll do for now. This one's an actual decent jewel case with a booklet in it, which is nice. But man, if you like 90s death metal, or even if you don't like 90s death metal, I mean, there's so much groove and catchiness in this stuff, especially like starting with this album. Man, it's just so memorable and so catchy in a way. Pretty accessible as far as death metal goes, but just still heavy as hell and awesome classic stuff. Okay, back to the 70s. Budgie. This is a nice little box set I got here. The MCA albums, 1973 to 75. So, it's got a little booklet here with some... Not great at doing this on camera yet, but history of the band in this period and stuff like that. Cool. And then the 3 albums, we got Never Turn Your Back on a Friend, which has some cool Roger Dean artwork on the cover too. 73, I think that one is. In for the Kill, I think this is 74. These are all in these kind of mini like LP gatefold type things. And Bandolier from 75, I think. Man, these albums are just awesome. I mean, Budgie is kind of a known quantity by now, especially with their songs being covered by Metallica and stuff back in the mid-80s. Definitely boosted their popularity, but if you don't know Budgie and you like 70s hard rock, just awesome stuff. Little bits of prog, bits of proto-metal, some psychedelic stuff, some folk influences even too, but just like, and even a little bit of funk in spots, but just awesome power trio heavy rock from the 70s. Great songwriting, great musicianship, just fantastic band. Okay, Cirithungol, Forever Black, 2020 I think this came out. This is their comeback album. Man, yeah, if you can't tell, I like these guys. This sounds like they didn't miss a beat. It sounds like they didn't take... It sounds like they took like 3 years off instead of 30 or whatever it was from Paradise Lost to this album. Just, yeah, sounds like Cirithungol. You get Robert Garvin's crazy vocals, just awesome, classic US heavy metal with big doom influence as well, and just, I don't know, nobody sounds like Cirithungol. Just awesome stuff. Glad to have that. Got a super killer deal on this too. There was a Metal Blade sale on their site a while ago. That was like, I want to say $5. Cat might be screwing with some of my stuff. Apologies if I have to get up. Anyway, Crimson Relic up next with Purgatory's Reign. Man, I have heard a few people mention this. I think Marty has brought it up on a few shows over on Heavy Metallurgy in the last couple of years, but before that, like, I never heard anyone talking about this album, really. It seems to be getting a bit more recognition now, which it definitely deserves. This is 96, I think. These guys started out as Divine Eve, put out one EP, I think, and then did this as Crimson Relic. Slightly different lineup, but yeah, so 96, not one of the most well-known years for death metal, but man, this thing rules. Huge Celtic Frost influence on here. Some acoustic guitars that pop up. Awesome diversity between slow sections and fast thrashy parts that come in. The vocals and the guitar tone as well, especially, remind me of Celtic Frost for sure, but they really put their own spin on things, and kind of, it's like if Celtic Frost took another step into the death metal sound. What's going on? Silly cat. Anyway, yeah, this is essential 90s death metal, in my opinion. Check it out. They only did the one album. Speaking of obscure-ish essential 90s death metal, Disharmonic Orchestra with Not to Be Undimensional Conscious. Yeah, another super unique album, and kind of the only album these guys did that sounds like this. They started out as a death grind band, sort of, and then after this album, they went way out of death metal. I mean, the next album even is really progressive, kind of psychedelic. It's got a little bit of death metal here and there, but not a lot. This one is just, you could call it progressive death metal, I guess, but it's just interesting. It's not really out there, but the riffing and the drumming and everything is just really interesting and unique. Nothing else really sounds like this, to be completely honest. Okay, get off. Anyway, yeah, awesome album. These guys are from Austria, I think. This is 92, I want to say. This reissue kind of sucks. You probably can't really see it on here, but the check out that band shot too on the back. It's pretty awesome. But even just the writing and stuff on here is like really pixely, and the album cover too. It's like they took a picture this big and blew it up to that size, which doesn't make any sense for me for a CD. But I don't know. It sounds great, so glad to have it. Going way back here, The Doors. This is another gas station pickup. Strange Days, their second album from 1968. I mean, what do you say about The Doors? Just classic psychedelic rock, bits of blues on here, kind of proto-prog. Jim Morrison, a legend, obviously, great vocalist. Left us way too soon, of course, but man, just awesome stuff. Happy to have that finally as well. Okay, I got two here from Enslaved, Mardrum, Beyond the Within, and Retir. Two pretty different albums from these guys. This one is right around the turn of the millennium, I want to say 2000 or 2001. I think it was 2000, but this might be their heaviest album. I mean, there's kind of a death metal feel to some of this stuff, and it's just super intense. The production as well is pretty raw still, just visceral. But they're also kind of starting to add in a lot of the progressive and psychedelic weirdness that they would start to do a lot after this. So it's kind of a transitional album for them. Not my favorite Enslaved album, but I mean, all their albums are great. So that's a cool one. And this one is definitely more in the prog kind of direction. I think it's got at least 2 songs on here that are 10, 11 minutes long. This might have been the first Enslaved album that I listened to originally. It was either this or Vertebrae, but man, just hearing that opening song, Thoughts Like Hammers, with that doomy, weird riff, and then all the super catchy vocal melodies and stuff that come in. Just, I don't know. This is just a masterpiece, in my opinion, along with a lot of their albums. Yeah, awesome stuff. Get off of here. I need that. Cats. Okay, Faith No More. Angel Dust. Probably my favorite Faith No More album. I mean, this is the last one with, I think, Jeff Martin is his name, I believe, on guitar. And, I mean, second one with Mike Patton on vocals. Just, the band is firing on all cylinders here. I don't know how to describe this stuff. Alternative metal, bits of funk, bits of prog, bits of thrash. They just do some of everything, honestly. I mean, it's not quite as out there as Mr. Bungle, but it's still like super diverse, super unique, experimental, but still catchy as hell. Yeah, just fantastic album. Okay, going back to the 70s again. Gentle Giant with their debut self-titled album. Not my favorite Gentle Giant album, but even at this point, these guys were already so unique. And just the weird rhythms, the vocal arrangements, the layers upon layers of instrumentation. They would take it even further going forward from here, but this is still a super cool album to check out. Oh my god, I might have to kick the cat out of here. Don't, yeah. Thanks. Fuck's sakes. Anyway, yeah, just awesome. Yeah, if you're into 70s prog rock, super unique band even within that scene. But yeah, check it out. And sticking on that theme, Nidrolog from the UK as well. Interesting band. They only put out these 2 albums. This is both of them on 1 CD. Kind of a shitty looking package, but I do want to get especially their second album, Lady Lake, on vinyl probably at some point. But yeah, interesting band too. This first album, it's called In Spite of Harry's Toenail. Pretty weird, but really noisy and dissonant kind of. A lot of like improvisation, it sounds like, and stuff on there. Cool album, but they really tighten things up on their second album, Lady Lake. I don't know if I can get this a bit better in the frame here. It's got a pretty cool album cover as well. But yeah, I don't know, lots of like woodwinds on there. You can kind of draw comparisons to King Crimson, maybe Gentle Giant even, in spots. A little bit of Vandergraaf Generator as well, but they really kind of, I don't know, did their own thing as well. Yeah, super cool band. Check it out. Alright, Gorguts, Colored Sands. This is actually the first Gorguts album I ever heard, but I never owned it on physical until now. Had it on my iPod and phone for years, but man, this yeah, awesome album. This is their comeback from 2013, I want to say. Yeah, just crazy, dissonant, technical death metal without being too dissonant or too technical. It's just really interesting. I mean, these guys are one of my favorite bands, for sure. And Luc Lemay is just a genius songwriter, in my opinion. Maybe too weird for some people if you like your death metal really straight up, but I love this shit. And another classic, Immolation with Close to a World Below. Man, just pummeling. This is the first Immolation album I heard, I think, as well, and I again owned it digitally for a long time, but glad to finally have this. Man, does death metal get any better than this? I don't know. This is just crushing. It's like being run over by a freight train for 45 minutes or whatever this is, but in the best way possible. It's somehow enjoyable. Um, the rhythms that they use in here, the riffing is super weird and atonal in spots, but it's still catchy too. I don't know. These guys ride the perfect line between complexity and accessibility, between all-out brutality, but also just enough. I wouldn't say there's space in here. There's a little bit of space in spots that kind of allows you to just get sucked into this atmosphere while still being super dense. I don't know. It's it's an essential listen if you are into death metal at all. Along with most Immolation albums, this might be my favorite though. It's hard to say. Now for something a little bit different, Joni Mitchell, Hejira. This is when, I mean, she started out as like a folk singer basically, and this is when she really started incorporating a lot of jazz elements. This has Jaco Pastorius on it, on bass, in fact. Yeah, interesting album. Not my favorite of hers, but still, I don't know, just a really interesting listen. It's very kind of spacious. It sounds kind of like the back album cover here looks. Like just like you're on this expansive kind of prairie and there's just, I don't know, a tumbleweed floating by or something, but I don't know, just really interesting kind of jazzy singer-songwriter stuff. And I happen to dig it quite a bit. Okay, Joy Division with Closer, their second and final album. Really interesting band again. You get Ian Curtis's weird vocals. He was not a great singer by any means, but it was more about the expression, the pure expression of what he was kind of going through at the time. I mean, a lot of this stuff is pretty dark lyrically, a lot of themes of isolation, depression, that kind of stuff, but musically just really interesting too. Prominent bass like you get with a lot of this kind of gothic rock and post-punk stuff from the 80s. Some cool keyboard textures and stuff on here as well. And really just good songs, well-written songs. Yeah, super cool stuff. Okay, King Crimson with Thrak. 95, I think this came out. It's the lineup of Adrian Belew, Robert Fripp, Bill Bruford, and Tony Levin, I think, is on this. I could be wrong. It could be Trey Gunn. But anyway, man, this is one of their heaviest albums, I would say. This is borderline metal in spots. Really heavy, still really proggy, of course. Some almost industrial elements in spots. I mean, I don't know. What can you say about King Crimson? They're one of my favorite bands. Super groundbreaking with whatever they did. Every album, basically. Every album is kind of different from the last, but they were always pushing themselves and creating music that was completely unique and just fantastic, in my opinion. I love every King Crimson album, but this one is probably the best one after the early 80s for me. Love it. Okay, two now from the Mars Volta. Got Francis the Mute and Amputecture. Sorry for all the glare here, but I have to spin this one again. I've only heard it once or twice. It is really good. It's pretty long. I mean, most of their albums are long, but this one is a goddamn masterpiece in my opinion. Weird prog rock, modern kind of sounding prog with a lot of angular riffing, kind of carried over from their post-hardcore band at the Drive-In. and you get elements of jazz and bossa nova and stuff. Even there's some like kind of Latin influences on here. Really intense in spots too, not quite metal, but like approaching metal levels of intensity. Some ambient sections as well. I will say this album is probably a little long. It's 75 minutes or so. Depends on my mood. Sometimes the ambient sections feel like they drag a little bit. Like there's an 8-minute long ambient noise kind of passage in the last song. But sometimes it works. Sometimes it just kind of sucks me in and I zone out and it works. But yeah, I don't know. I love this album, along with their first one as well. So yeah, check it out if that sounds up your alley. Another one that's slightly embarrassing to admit. I didn't own any Metallica until a couple months ago. So I had to pick these up. Again, gas station finds. These are just pretty... They have decent booklets, but they're pretty basic digipack reissues. I think they're remastered, I want to say. They probably still didn't turn up the bass on this one. I haven't listened to this yet. I'm kind of curious. Maybe I'll throw this on after I'm done, but I mean, I don't really need to talk about these, do I? It's Metallica. Love those first 4 albums. Another twofer. Morbid Angel, Steve Tucker era here. Formulas, Fatal to the Flesh, and Gateways to Annihilation. Man, these albums just rip. If you were a Morbid Angel fan and somehow jumped off the train after David Vincent left, you made a big mistake, because they didn't miss a beat. I mean, you still get that crazy, weird riffing style of Trey, Pete Sandoval's insane drumming. There's some insanely fast stuff on this. I will say the drum sound on this isn't my favorite. The kicks are a little clicky, but some of their best songs on here. Oh, man. And on this, too. I mean, these are just killer death metal albums. And probably their last amazing ones for me. I like Heretic as well, but I don't know. Gateways is their last masterpiece for me. Okay, another twofer and another band that I didn't own anything by until now. Somehow, Motorhead, Overkill, and Ace of Spades. Again, do I really need to talk about these? Probably not. I mean, classic shit, especially this album. I fucking love this album. This is great as well, but this, probably my favorite Motorhead album. Every song sounds just completely like Motorhead, but also has its own identity. And just super memorable, I don't know, just killer stuff. These are the deluxe editions with, it's basically a bunch of alternate versions and then some live stuff on both of them. These were actually the cheapest CD versions I could find. They were cheaper than the single discs, so yeah, don't mind having some extra stuff. Right, back to the 70s again. Neil Young, Harvest. This is the 50th anniversary box set, CD box set. I got a pretty good deal on this. It was on sale on Amazon. I kind of hate buying stuff from Amazon, but once in a while, if there's a sale, I'll pick it up. This comes with, I mean, you get the original CD, a live concert, some outtakes, DVD making of the album, documentary, and then a live concert as well. A little poster, and I forget how many pages this is, but a nice little hardcover book with a bunch of photos and kind of the write-up of the making of the album and whatever, so that's pretty cool. Glad to have that. I'm a huge Neil Young fan. Grew up with Neil in the car on family road trips when I was a kid. So yeah, fantastic album. If you haven't checked it out, if you like kind of 70s folk rock, amazing masterpiece. And another one, Neil Young and Crazy Horse, Sleeps with Angels. This is one of his heavier albums. This is like 94, I think. And it sounds like, I mean, Neil Young gets called the godfather of grunge by some people, and this kind of sounds like he was listening to those bands that he influenced. There's a lot of kind of aggressive guitar stuff on some of these. Sounds like it's down-tuned as well. Yeah, I don't know. Just a cool album. Not one of his absolute best, but definitely still worth checking out. Pretty heavy. Okay. God. Right. Porcupine Tree, Signify, 1996. This was their first album as an actual band, kind of. One of my favorite bands of all time. Love Porcupine Tree. This is just a, I don't know, there's space rock on here, psychedelic, prog, and a lot of like just alternative rock, kind of like 90s British kind of sounding stuff, like, I don't know, in the vein of Radiohead, or maybe even like Oasis to a little extent. I'm not a huge Oasis fan, to be honest, but they kind of have that Britpop kind of sensibility with the catchiness of the songs. Man, so many great songs on here. Sleep of No Dreaming, Waiting, Sever, Idiot Prayer, Dark Matter. Oh, so good. Just a near perfect album. Really, yeah, just straddles the line between accessibility and interesting songwriting as well. Just killer stuff. What are you doing? This cat. Oh my god. This. Hi. It's Nina. Anyway. Satan with Earth Infernal. This is their latest album, 2022, I think. Yeah. Man, these guys just don't put out anything less than great, in my opinion. They kind of have their sound, their trademark sound that they have. I mean, they started out in part of the new wave of British heavy metal in the 80s. Ow, fuck off. Jesus Christ. Okay. Sorry. Cat, get out of here. Okay, my apologies. Just, that's enough of that. Anyway, yeah, it started out as part of the Nawabum scene. Really cool dual guitar stuff on all their albums. They went away for, I want to say, 20 or so years, 25 maybe. The guys were all doing other stuff in different bands, but they came back and started putting out albums around 2010 or so, maybe 2009. And man, all those albums, kind of like the Cirith Ungol as well. I mean, sounds like they didn't take 25 years off at all. Awesome stuff. If you like just traditional heavy metal in the vein of, it's kind of like Iron Maiden maybe, but a little bit more kind of speed metal almost, in a way. I don't know. Just killer stuff. Okay, another childhood band for me. Simon and Garfunkel. This is the Columbia Studio Recordings, 1964 to 1970. So it's got all their albums on here. I think there's a little booklet in here. Nothing too crazy, just these little kind of mini LP sleeves. Yeah, again, just like fantastic songwriting. I mean, Paul Simon is just such a great songwriter, in my opinion. And my parents had the greatest hits CD, or tape, I guess, that used to get played in the car all the time. And I started listening to their full albums, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or something. Probably not even, but man, a lot of great deep cuts too on the albums. They're not just a greatest hits band for me anymore, so nice to just have all their albums now with one purchase. Okay, another similar kind of thing, Spirit. This is one of those original album classics deals, so it's all just a little same kind of deal, mini LP sleeves. These guys are a cool band as well, kind of east or West Coast California psychedelic rock sound from the late 60s, early 70s. Notorious for the estate of their guitarist trying to sue Led Zeppelin for the intro to Stairway to Heaven, which I think they lost. I don't know. That was a weird situation. I don't think Randy California, the guitarist, would have ever done that if he was still alive. So it's kind of shitty that the estate decided to, but yeah, these guys are just a cool band. Yeah, like I said, psychedelic rock kind of. If I was going to point anybody in the direction of one album, it would be this one, The 12 Dreams of Dr. Sardonicus. Man, just great album. Bits of hard rock, psychedelic rock, some prog on here, sort of. Just awesome album. And yeah, glad to have that. Okay, here's a cool one. Steel Mill. Jewels of the Forest, aka Green Eyed God Plus. So these guys were a one and done band from the UK in the early 70s. I want to say the album came out in 73 or something. I'm going to try to find the original album cover here. It's a pretty killer album cover. I kind of want to get this on vinyl someday, but they only did the one album. Here it is. Green Eyed God in 72 or 73. And this is just like, it's really kind of spooky. Really think of maybe a mix of Jethro Tull and Black Sabbath. It's got the flute, and it's kind of proggy in spots, but it's pretty heavy in the guitar department. And just, it's got a really spooky kind of occult atmosphere to it that I happen to love. Yeah, just a really cool album. Doesn't really sound like anyone else, and definitely worth checking out if you're into 70s prog or psych or proto metal kind of stuff. Awesome album. Okay, this is a kind of interesting one. I picked this up because the Jeff and Hunter over at the Radical Research podcast did an episode. I think they're doing more episodes on this as well. But this is called Intrigue, and it's Steven Wilson from Porcupine Tree put this together. Basically, it's 4 CDs worth and a big book as well inside, which is pretty cool. I haven't read this yet, but it's all about progressive sounds in UK alternative music, 1979 to 1989. So you got, I think, I want to say around 60 different bands on here. One song from each, kind of, all kinds of stuff. Bill Nelson's Red Noise, The Stranglers, Magazine, Wire, This Heat, Joy Division, New Order, Japan, The Cure, Scott Walker, all kinds of cool stuff on here. Really interesting listen too, because this is kind of a blind spot for me in general, because most of the 80s music that I've listened to has been metal typically. So it's cool to kind of hear some more of this other stuff that was going on at the same time. yeah, this is not super cheap. I got a used copy, but definitely worth getting. It's pretty cool. Okay, gonna try to go a little bit faster here. Sorry, guys. Suppuration, The Cube, French proggy death metal. This came out in '93, I think. Just really cool stuff. Clean vocals here and there. Really interesting song structures. Great musicianship. They changed the band name to just SUP or SUP. Did a few albums as that band. I haven't heard those yet, but this album and all these guys' demos as well and EPs from back in the day are super cool. Really unique stuff. Hard to kind of draw any parallels to anyone else, but I don't know. I love this old school, like, 90s proggy weird death metal. Some of my favorite shit of all time. Now a stone cold classic of thrash, Testament's first album, The Legacy. I mean, what do you say about this? Chuck Billy comes in, replacing Zetro, who was their original vocalist. Alex Skolnick, such an amazing guitarist. This is their most consistent album, I would say. I mean, even the second one, The New Order, fantastic still, but I could probably do without the Aerosmith cover. It's a good cover, but this is just balls to the wall thrash, front to back. Amazing masterpiece. Yeah. Okay, two now from Type O Negative. October Rust and World Coming Down. Man, love Type O Negative. They've become one of my favorite bands in the last probably 3 years or so. Such good stuff. Gothic metal, I guess you could call it. Doom at times. Love Peter Steele's bass tone and this kind of vampiric vocals. Fantastic songwriting, amazing melodies. Just, I don't know. And sense of humor as well in certain places, but dark at the same time as well. I don't know. When I'm in the mood for Type O Negative, there's nothing else that will work. So I had to get some of their stuff. Okay, last CD. Venom. In nomine Satanis. I don't know. Probably pronouncing that wrong. My Latin isn't great. This is a box set. Pretty affordable too. It's just CDs, but it was like $50 or so, I want to say. It's got Welcome to Hell, Black Metal, At War with Satan, Possessed, Eine kleine Nachtmusik, which is the live album. Sons of Satan. I forget what's on that. And then I think this is, rare and unreleased stuff. And then it's got the Seventh Date of Hell live video as well, which I haven't watched yet. I'll try to get to that one of these days. But yeah, oh man, so glad to have especially these three finally. Even though there's these little shitty things too, just card sleeves, but man, such classic albums. I mean, again, not a band that I need to talk about likely. So just move on to the next thing, so this video isn't 3 goddamn hours long. Okay, a couple DVDs here. Mastodon, The Workhorse Chronicles. I love Mastodon. This early stuff too is just heavy as hell. Intense, sludgy, but still super technical kind of. The drumming is just ridiculous. It's kind of an interesting DVD. It's got a lot of interviews and stuff, and then the live stuff is kind of broken up. It's kind of split up. There's like a few different shows that they used and then split it up into different songs. But if you like Mastodon, the early stuff, and you want to see some live footage of them, this is awesome. And back to Simon Garfunkel, the concert in Central Park, legendary concert. I haven't watched this yet, but it was from the same seller on Discogs that I got a bunch of other stuff from, so picked it up. Yeah, it's probably probably great. Yes, with Yes Songs. This is the video version of their first live album. I want to say 1973 or so. Not the greatest audio or video quality, but still, I mean, the fact that there's a document of this band at just the height of their powers. I believe Bill Bruford is still on this, actually, as well. No, it is Alan White, it looks like, actually. But anyway, yeah, just Yes in their prime. Amazing prog rock. I don't know what else to say about that. David Bowie, what's this called? A reality tour. So this is like late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere around there. Early 2000s. This is like 140 minutes, yeah, so 2 hours and 20 minutes. Huge concert, cool stage show and stuff. Plays a bunch of his newer songs at the time and a ton of the old classics as well. I'm a huge Bowie fan. Yeah, this is fucking awesome. Iggy Pop. Jesus, this is Iggy. This, I believe, is 15 performance excerpts. So, a bunch of live stuff, I guess. I haven't watched this. Again, it was just picked it up off of Discogs to save on some shipping. So, I mean, I really like the Stooges stuff and Iggy Pop's first few solo albums too. Really cool stuff. So, yeah, glad to have that. Jethro Tull, Nothing Is Easy, live at the Isle of Wight, 1970. Again, there's only 5 songs on here, but just super cool. And there's some extra stuff on here, I think, as well. Anyway, Tull in their prime. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this either. One of my favorite bands, and super cool to have that. King Crimson, Eyes Wide Open. This has 2 shows on it, I think. Live in Japan 2003 and live at Shepherd's Bush Empire 2000. Yeah, I gotta watch this again. I haven't seen it yet, but that's super cool to have. Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon documentary. One of those basic kind of things that should be interesting. Oh, I forgot to mention, a few of these, those 2 and a few more of these were from Jeff over at Gas Masks and Hand Grenades. So thanks, Jeff. I loaned him a DVD and he sent me a few back when he sent that back to me. So that's pretty awesome. Pink Floyd video anthology, 1966 to 83. Guess it's just all their music videos. It looks like there's some live stuff on there too. That should be cool. Roger Waters in the Flash live. Again, I mean, I haven't watched any of these, so I couldn't tell you what they're like, but seem cool. I haven't seen this one either. The Who, The Kids Are Alright. Yeah, pretty stoked to watch this. I'm a big Who fan. And then this one, I think this is from later on. I don't know when this came out. Looks pretty recent. Oh, okay. The performance of Tommy is from 1989, it says. So, I don't know. No Keith Moon, I guess, but this still should be pretty cool. It's got Quadrophenia and Tommy live in their entirety. So, that's pretty awesome. Alright, finally onto vinyl. And I'm going to try to speed this up. Already at 50 goddamn minutes. Sorry I talk so goddamn much. Alright, Armageddon with their self-titled album from, I think this was 1971 or 73 maybe, I want to say. This is a super group, guys from the Yardbirds, and Renaissance, as well as Captain Beyond. Bobby Caldwell, the drummer, was on here, and the bass player from Steamhammer. Man, this is awesome, like early 70s proggy hard rock, proto metal stuff. Killer stuff. Love it. Blue Oyster Cult, Tyranny and Mutation. Man, such a killer album cover. Same with the debut too. Love the art. Their second album, super cool back cover here as well. I don't know what the hell those are, but I don't know, looks sick. This is, I mean, I love Blue Oyster Cult, another one of my favorite bands. I had this back in the day and I sold it for whatever stupid reason when I got rid of a bunch of stuff and regretted it afterwards. But yeah, glad to have this again. If you don't know Blue Oyster Cult, just stop watching this video and just go listen to Blue Oyster Cult, for fuck's sake. Blut aus Nord, Memoria Vetusta 1, Fathers of the Icy Age. I am a bit of a noob to Blut aus Nord, French black metal band, basically a one-man band. But yeah, this is fucking awesome. Just really interesting melodies and stuff on here. It's very kind of spacious black metal. A lot of atmosphere to it. Not very blast beat heavy. Pretty melodic. Yeah, just a really interesting album. And I definitely need to pick up more from these guys soon. Or this guy, I guess. Yeah, stoked to have that one. Okay, this is where the poster back here is from. Cirithungol, Frost and Fire, the debut from, is this 81? Okay, wanted to say 79. This is the 2 discs, or 2 LP set. It's got the original, or the 40th anniversary remix, and then the 2021 remaster. It's not the nice big book version that some other people have showed off. I know Melanie over at Melanie Loves Death Metal got it. I wanted to get that, but I couldn't spend that much money at the time. I got this for like $10 on that same Metal Blade sale that I got the other Cirithungol and a few other things on. Just, I love this album. I love all Cirithungol basically. And same goes for this one, of course. King of the Dead. Just a classic. I mean, I already talked about Cirithungol before, so just so stoked to have that. The artwork on those too, I mean, come on. I think this came with a poster too. I should put this up. So cool. Okay. Dee Lind. A frickin' long ass album cover that I'm gonna butcher. It's all in Italian. There, you can read it if you want. I'm not gonna say it. These guys only put out one album, Italian prog rock from the early 70s. Super great. And not a band that I hear anyone talking about really ever. I'm not sure why. This is killer stuff if you like 70s prog. It's all in Italian, but I don't mind that personally. Maybe it'll turn some people off, but I don't mind it. Deep Purple, Fireball. My favorite Deep Purple album. Probably a weird choice, but oh shit. My vinyl's falling over. God, I need some practice doing this shit. At least I'm getting it. Weird album cover, of course, on this. But man, just so many great songs on here. Fireball, No. Strange Kind of Woman, The Mule, Fools, No One Came. So many great songs on this. Just a classic. Family, a song for me. These guys are interesting. British kind of prog rock, psychedelic rock, a lot of folk elements too, and some jazz creeping in there. Their singer, Roger Chapman, he had the nickname of the Electric Goat, and yeah, his vibrato is insane. He totally sounds like a goat sometimes, which is pretty weird, but I don't know. I love these guys' music. It's just really, really interesting. If you're into 70s prog, check that out. And another death metal classic. I already talked about Immolation, so I'm not going to go too long on this here and after. This is my favorite, probably some days, from Immolation. Just a masterpiece. The drumming on here is insane. Craig Smilowski on drums. Ridiculous. Love it. Love that album. Immortal, At the Heart of Winter. First Immortal album I ever heard. One of the earlier black metal albums I heard. It was weird because the first time I heard it, I thought it was boring as shit. And then the second time I heard it, I was like, this is a goddamn masterpiece. So, I don't know. I absolutely love it now. Abbot's kind of melodic, thrashy black metal riffing, and his crazy vocals. Just it's not strictly black metal. It's not true cult type shit, but it's fantastic in my opinion. And now I have two from Kate Bush. I'm a massive Kate Bush fan. This is Never Forever and The Dreaming. Two of my favorite albums of hers. Just experimental pop, progressive pop. I don't know what you would even call this stuff, but it's so good. Yeah, I don't know. If you're just into weird but catchy, memorable music, I mean, I don't know how to describe this shit, but it's so good. It's addictive. Love Kate Bush. Okay, should have taken these out of the plastic sleeves earlier. My bad. If anyone is still watching at this point, my apologies. Mahogany Rush. Glad to finally have a bit more of these guys' stuff on physical format. Strange Universe. What's this one called? Tales of the Unexpected and What's Next. These are just killer. Frank Marino, the guitarist, was insanely good. Still is, probably. Although I think he's having some health issues and he can't play anymore, from what I heard, which sucks. I hope he recovers, but I'm not sure. Anyway, man, hard rock, psychedelic rock, blues rock, jazz, prog, just so many different things happening on all these albums. If you're not familiar with these guys, check out either Tales of the Spanish Warrior or Strange Universe off of this, or check out Something's Coming Our Way off of this. Just absolute ripper. Some insane guitar shredding on that. And then Frank's second solo album, I think, Juggernaut. Maybe my favorite of his solo albums. Just awesome stuff. Super catchy, hard rock. A little bit of blues here and there. Similar to Mahogany Rush. Some some kind of like borderline metal stuff on there as well. Just great hard rock. Okay. Now I got 4 from this next band, and I'm super stoked to have these. You can kind of see the poster from one of them up here. Manila Road. Man, Manila Road was a band I heard about for a long time. Probably a similar story to a lot of other people, but didn't get around to checking them out. I mean, maybe it was the band name, right? You hear Manila Road and you're like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll check them out someday. Man, first time I put on Crystal Logic and that spooky intro going into Necropolis, I was immediately hooked. And they're one of my absolute favorite bands now. I just listened to all of their albums front to back in a row, basically, like a week or two ago again. So good. So these are all reissues, not original stuff, but they are super nice reissues. I ordered 3 of these directly from the band as well. A couple of them came with posters as well, which is pretty cool. But yeah, Crystal Logic, Open the Gates. Man, that cover art, so awesome. I wish this one came with a poster. It didn't, unfortunately, but I mean, this one did. So that's still fantastic. Anyone who hasn't heard Manila Road, if you're watching this, I mean, kind of traditional US metal, bits of thrash. This album they started to go really thrashy on. This is, oh, I didn't even say, this is The Deluge, and this is Out of the Abyss. This is probably their thrashiest album, but I don't know. They're hard to describe. Epic metal, I guess they get tagged as. Unique vocals from Mark Shelton. Underrated guitarist, too. Just fantastic soloist and riff writer as well. But check out that guitar on the back, too. Just crazy. Anyway, so excited to have some Manila Road, finally. Mountain. Getting close to the end here, guys. Thanks for sticking with me if you're still here. Mountain. Twin Peaks. This is a live album. Super cool art there as well. Double live album. I mean, everyone knows Mississippi Queen, and it's a great song, but man, these guys had so many other awesome songs as well. Their first 2 albums, especially Climbing and Nantucket Sleigh Ride, awesome albums. This is a live album. A lot of their best songs on here. They have like I want to say 25-minute version of Nantucket Sleigh Ride, which is split over 2 sides of vinyl. Crazy, but yeah, awesome hard rock, proto metal kind of stuff. Pentagram, Relentless, just legendary doom metal band and album. Say what you will about Bobby. I know he's got a lot of issues going on throughout the years, but you can't argue with this music, man. Just a stone cold classic of doom metal. This is their debut, Repress, of course. Man, every song on here is just a ripper. Love that album, and most of the early Pentagram stuff. Razor, Violent Restitution. Man, if you like thrash, 80s thrash, this fucking rips. I remember the first time I heard this album, and that first instrumental song, mostly instrumental, comes on, The Martial Arts, and Stace Sheepdog McLaren does, it's like a 30 or 35 second long, just like banshee shriek. It's completely insane, and like the album never lets up after that. It's just like balls to the wall, ripping thrash. the album cover basically tells you what you're getting. So, yeah, just so good. Scorpions, Taken by Force. Another one of my favorite bands of all time. Maybe my favorite album from them, along with In Trance. Uli Jon Roth was an amazing guitarist. Love every song on here. Just a total classic of early heavy metal. Yeah, if you somehow don't know the 70s Scorpions stuff, man, check it out ASAP. Steve Hackett, Voyage of the Acolyte. This is Steve Hackett's first solo album. He was the guitarist for Genesis back in the early 70s, early to mid 70s. Just fantastic prog rock. This sounds like a lost early Genesis album. Absolutely mandatory listening for any fan of the early Genesis stuff. Yeah. Cool artwork on here too. I think this was done by his girlfriend at the time. But yeah, just near masterpiece of prog rock. Some more prog rock, modern stuff. Steven Wilson of Porcupine Tree, Grace for Drowning. This might be my favorite of his solo albums. Really dark, really jazzy, really dissonant in spots and heavy, but also a lot of beautiful melodies as well. And a whole cast of guest musicians on here too. Just awesome stuff. And two more prog rock albums. Van der Graaf Generator, God Bluff. Such a unique band. Peter Hamill's vocals are crazy. Check out the song Arrow. It's just insane. Yeah. I think there's only 4 songs on this album, but they rule. Dark, heavy prog, but without guitar for the most part. Just organ, saxophone, bass, and drums. And yeah, intense, dark, brooding, complex, weird. I love it. And last one, and I'll shut the hell up and leave you guys alone. Web, I Spider. Check out that album cover. Pretty weird shit. But another one that I could kind of compare to Van der Graaf Generator in a way. Dark, weird, dissonant, jazzy prog from the early 70s. This is really early. I think this was 1970, in fact. UK band. I haven't heard their other albums. Apparently this is their best one by a decent margin. But yeah, really cool stuff, and a band that no one really talks about much. If you want to check this out, check out the song Love You. Just a crazy, heavy jazz groove on that one. Awesome stuff. Okay, man. Tried to make it shorter this time, and still went over an hour. So if anyone's still watching this by the time you get to this point, thanks. Or even if you have left already, thanks for watching. Yeah, I don't know. Just yeah, felt good to make some kind of content. So hopefully I won't be taking as long of a break after this. I do have a couple more themed videos that will be shorter that I'm gonna do, where I talk about like 5 albums in a certain kind of style that I think are underrated. And I'm gonna be doing a couple things over on gas masks and hand grenades coming up pretty soon with Jeff. And besides that, yeah, I don't know. I'll see what I come up with. But yeah, hope you're all doing well out there. And till next time, take care. rock on. Yeah, have a good one.